The show. You guys this week, you guys have been asking for me to have more industry people on. I couldn't think anybody better. Someone I've known for a really long time. It's been a dear friend, a very good client, and just recently retired. But y'all welcome Suan Tinsley to the show.
Thanks, Garrett. Thanks, everyone. Good to see you all. Well, I can't see you, but if I could, hello, you look great.
Awesome. How you been?
I've been good. I've been retired now for 2.5 weeks.
How's that going?
And it's going well. My family's worried about me, especially my niece Brooke that works for Dayrise and Reed. But it's good, and we'll see how it goes a month from now.
Are they telling you like you can't be Suan anymore? Like you got like the phone's not gonna go like it was. You don't have to be on call like 24/7. You gotta find some other things to do.
That's the weird part, Garrett, because I think maybe I've had a week's vacation in, the last 13 years where I have been totally disconnected. I mean, always checking emails. And I think we all do that because if you don't stay plugged in, then you've got 3,000 emails to answer when you get home. So it's good to kind of do a little bit every day.
And someone might actually have a real emergency. I mean, you're dealing with people's homes. So,
I know it.
I mean, it's
a lot of
multifamily.
Homes and a lot of good residents.
I mean, my wife and I always have this worked out where she's a night owl. I'm the morning person. So our rule is when we're on vacation, I can take my phone and I can turn it on. But when she gets up, that's when it ends. So like if I get up at 6 a.m. and she ain't up till 9, I've got 3 hours that I can forward, respond, whatever I need to do, but then it's off.
Well, that's what I'm the early bird. I go to bed early and I get up very early. And now when I was working, I would clear my emails and do a lot of work between about 5:30 and 7:30. And then Reed gets up and, we don't usually have breakfast, but just kind of nice to say hi. And he goes into his office. And we usually have our Zoom and Teams calls that start around 9 o'clock. So, you get the emails cleared out and then the day progresses from there.
Not to mention, you're always dealing with, like, especially on your end, you have clients and owner investors that are all over the U.S., other countries.
Yes.
So you're playing the time zone game, too.
Yes. And my niece, Brooke, she lives in California.
Yeah. So
an 8 o'clock call for me, which is a 3 o'clock call in Germany or in the Netherlands, is 6 a.m. for her. Yeah. So I feel really bad, that she's on the West Coast, but she's a trooper. She does good with it.
I mean, I feel bad. My little brother moved to Maui, and it's like he knows he doesn't get off work till, 5, 6 o'clock sometimes, and he just wants to call and check in. Well, that's 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it's too late.
I am in bed.
Too late, brother.
I just tell my wife, I was like, she knows the ringtone, and she'll just text him, hey, is this an emergency? No, it's not an emergency. All right, cool. I'll tell him to call you tomorrow.
Now, did you say Maui?
Maui.
We have a timeshare on Maui.
Yeah, I know.
Where does he live?
Oh, he's going to kill me for not knowing this. Kauai? No, it's, what is this little town? He lives right by the airport. Like you.
Paella, by any chance?
That's it.
Oh my gosh. My sister Renee and I love to shop there. It's right by Mama's Fish House.
Yeah, he works at the Whole Foods right there by the airport.
Well, we love to go to Mama's Fish House, and it is spectacular. The ambiance, the food, everything is great, and the scenery. And so we shop at Paella before we go to Mama's. Nice. Because it's about a 5-minute drive once you pack up your bags and get ready to go eat and drink.
Yep.
Have a nice Mai Tai.
Well, I also got to announce something else here because I get a lot of shit because you and I are both Oklahoma Sooner fans.
Absolutely. Boomer Sooner.
And we get to do that every now and then. But I have not had a single Sooner on my show yet. I had 2 previously Longhorn professional graduates that played football for the Longhorns.
Cool.
Had to get all kinds of shit from them.
Of course.
Like they give me all kinds of shit at the lounge. But it's nice to finally have a Sooner on here.
Well, let me tell you, talk about getting shit. I married a Longhorn.
So did I.
So I know it. And so my Sooner friends and all of my family, they gave me a hard time. Of course, his family gave me a hard time too,
Yeah.
For him to marry a Sooner was not very popular at all. So
Yeah.
we've got the house divided. And when we go to the Cotton Bowl every year, we don't sit together. He's got 4 tickets on the UT side, and I've got my 2 on the OU side. And I do have a football husband.
Yeah.
And hey, Brad Wagner, you're probably not watching, but anyway, it's great to talk to a fellow Sooner.
No,
I
that's
love
awesome.
our Sooners,
Yeah.
Sooner Nation.
Yeah, my mother-in-law actually sent me OU sucks beer last year. My mother-in-law.
I know.
Like, I didn't think she'd
I've-
cross that line. But
I've
my
seen that
mother-in-law
beer.
even thought that was funny.
I know. I've
was
seen
like,
that beer.
This is brutal.
Yeah, not cool, Mom.
Not cool. Not cool.
But Reed's really cool. He can go with the flow when it comes to football.
Well, he's got a cool name, too.
Yeah, well, you love that name. Great name, right? And but no, he's really calm. I'm the amped up, sore loser. Gotta have a winning streak. And I have a funny story. When I was at Alliance, Sue Ramsey and I worked together, and a dear friend of mine, but she graduated from Oklahoma State. And when we lost to Oklahoma State that year, she was going to have our paint contractor come in and paint my office orange.
Oh,
and have them on standby, of course, to come back and get it repainted the following day. And everyone said, don't do that.
Yeah.
They said, Sue, do not do that. And she said, Sue Ann, I knew you wouldn't care. I said, Sue, that would have been crossing the line, because I actually got home after OSU beat us, and I took all of my memorabilia and I put it outside of my door of my office and had a sign that said garage sale cheap. I mean, to lose to Texas is one thing, but to lose to Oklahoma State, that kills you.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
That's a killer.
It's funny you said that. Now that you're retired, I can tell you the story. So this was, 5-6 years ago. Brian Freese that works for you.
Yes.
We go way back, and we're out there, and this is when I was like still helping John a lot, do estimates for him. And I'm out there walking around helping walk stuff for Brian. Well, Brian and John are flying in that next day, and John tells me, he said, hey, Brian had made some joke about painting this shack, and like the colors that they were picking were crazy. And I forget which property it was you guys had, but it had like a little guard shack at the front. And John
Which
goes,
city?
It was in Phoenix.
Okay, San Valiente.
It was the one with all the cats.
Yes.
So we get over there.
No, Solano. The Solanos.
That's it.
Right.
And John goes, hey, I got the painters on. Just make sure it's done by the time we get there. I said, what are you talking about? We get over there. He had that shack painted Barney purple, and it said Brian Shack.
What did Brian do?
Came in, he about had a stroke. I mean,
Laughing.
And then we were all dying laughing. He's like, that shit better be back before I'm gone today.
That
like,
is
don't
so
worry,
cool.
I already got him going. They were already painted.
John's clever. No, I
cool.
love Brian.
Yeah.
That's great. I love to get the guys.
Barney purple.
Bill
one.
Cutt, who is the executive VP of construction,
Yeah.
I have Santa Claus as his contact picture, because every time I find a little Suan project that I need on a renovation and we don't have it budgeted for,
Yeah.
I go to Brian and Bill with my sad eyes and say, please,
Yeah.
can't you
Can you
find
find
me
a way?
20,000? And they always do. They always do. So they're great.
Look at that.
Huge shout out to our construction group. They're awesome.
They're a bunch of good guys.
Yep.
Let's step back a minute and let's tell everybody a bit about your journey. Because everybody, a lot of people know who you are in the industry, but I don't think everybody knows how far you've come. Like, I know a lot of this started with Marvy.
Yes.
And he's a big mentor of yours and was somebody very influential in your life. Maybe tell everybody a little bit. I mean, everybody knows you retired recently, but let's take them back to the beginning and kind of how you've gone through it, because you've been a part of. I mean, I had my notebook, but I couldn't have enough room for it, for all the accolades and stuff you've done over the year. I mean, you've always been super involved in the associations, from local to state to nationwide. So maybe you can tell everybody a little bit about where you actually started off in the industry.
I was living in Norman. I had been out of college for 1 year, and one of my best friends, she went to work for Bob Mooring. He was a local developer. I don't know if you are familiar with that name, but they were really the distinguished developer in Norman. They built the groovy places that everyone wanted to live in. And so I launched my career with them. And
Okay.
it was fun because, I'm out of college. I'm meeting people that are similar to me. They're my residents. And worked for them. They sent me to Santa Fe one summer to open up a new deal. And so that was really cool. And after a year, I went to work for the competitor. They were the new kid on the block in Norman. And so I worked for them, Barnett Range out of Stockton, California. And the gentleman that was our vice president, Pat Murphy, he had asked if I wanted to go to Tulsa. And then he left, called me from Houston a year later and asked if I would join him. And my supervisor had worked with him for years. And I said, no, I don't want to move to Houston. And he said, well, I'll give you a free 2-bedroom apartment. I'll pay your electricity and you'll make commissions. And I said, I'll be there in 2 weeks, and gave my notice the next day. So I moved to Houston and met Reed. He was a resident at the property that I managed. And funny story there real quickly. His name, we had been told by different friends that, that we should be fixed up on a blind date. And so anyway, his name came up on the delinquency list. And my assistant manager said, that Reed Tinsley is delinquent. I told her, I said, well, don't send him one of those horrible eviction notices. Well, she did. So my CPA, financial planner husband sent a very, very terse note the next day, and I'm reading it at my desk. And of course, it said rent was paid before the first. Well, the check had slipped underneath the refrigerator in the maintenance room. So he called me and we talked, and we went out on a blind date and got married 7 months later.
Wow.
So what happened then at that point was we got back from our honeymoon. We got married in 86, and we put a contract down on a home. We built a home, and I worked for Resources Property Management. That was the group for 3 years. And Harry Reid had been managing the real estate, and they opened up their own in-house shop. So I went to work for the Finger Companies in 88. Incredible family and developers, and I cut my teeth there. And it was such an incredible experience, Garrett, because Marvy Finger said to me, and this was drilled in everyone's head, we work 24/7 because we are in charge of people's homes. Yeah. And he took that very seriously, and all of the employees did. I started as a supervisor there in 88, and I got promoted 2 years later and ran their operations. So I stayed there for 6 years, and I went to Greystar. Bob Faith had just bought the company from Walter Eads. I don't know if you knew that. Walter had Greystone.
Okay.
And had built all of these beautiful properties, primarily in Sugar Land outside of Houston. And Bob Faith had bought it. And, I knew Stacy and David Hargrove and a lot of the folks there. So I went to work
David.
for them.
I worked with David.
David Hargrove was great boss. And so I stayed there for a couple of years. And then I had an opportunity to go to work for Eileen Sabinski. And Eileen is one of the greatest mentors anyone could ever hope for. So I went to work for her at Intercapital. That's where I met my now partners, Ed Biskin and Andy Shore, and worked there. And then I followed Andy over. He started Alliance. I was there for 9 years, and then did another stint at Finger. And, shortly thereafter, Andy and Ed and I formed Dayrise.
That's awesome. So literally from leasing apartments all the way to the top over the start of your career.
Yes, it's been great. I actually said to our executive and senior team on a call when they announced my retirement that I felt like I had reached all of my goals, and that felt so just felt really cool.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, let me go on ahead and do the exit a little earlier. I really hadn't planned to retire at 63, but when I really sat down and realized that I had achieved all of my goals, it made the decision easier, because you just feel like you've come full circle.
And you've got all the grandbabies and stuff running around.
Well, I have a grandson that's 19, and he just finished his first year, at San Marcos. And then I have 3 grandnephews and a fourth one on the way, and my nieces and nephews, and they're just, all of these kids are my world.
Yeah, there's babies around you all the time.
Babies.
Every picture.
Well, and it's funny because Brooke will send a lot of photos from LA where she lives.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people will think, oh, are you at Disneyland today? And I'm not there. She's just constantly sending me the photos, and I'm regurgitating it, and I guess pretending like I'm with them on Facebook.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, that's really cool that I'm training a new estimator right now. And I tell these guys all the time, like, it's so important in this industry. It's a very big industry, but it's so small.
Very small.
Like, don't burn bridges. And I've also tell them all the time, like, treat everybody the way you'd want to be treated, and treat them with the same amount of respect, because you don't know who that leasing agent's going to turn into one day. Or that guy that's a porter. Right. That porter is going to be a maintenance director one day. That leasing agent's going to be a partner or a regional vice president or something. Like, you got to really make sure, you treat everybody the way you'd want to be treated.
Right.
So,
well, let me chime in real quickly. Pardon me for cutting you off. Dean Johnson with us. When we bought our fourth property here in Dallas 12 years ago, Dean was a groundskeeper. And look at him now. He's, a director of not maintenance, of construction. He handles all of the special projects. Yeah. He works with the design teams, but that's a perfect example of someone who was at that entry level, and look where he is today.
Yeah, and it's like, you notice you said a lot of times when you were talking about your story how you moved in this circle with people, and you even went back to some places. It's not a forever here or there. It's like you're still in the industry. Right.
Marvy and I were we had a closeness like Andy and Ed and I do. And a couple of times they called and said, hey, come back. And I would be really happy where I was. But Marvy was a powerful man, and to tell him no it was difficult to do. I interrupted you. What were you saying when I told you about Dean? Talking about treating people well and...
Yeah, no, I was just saying, advice that you would have for somebody that's, starting out in the multifamily career is where I was going to go with that. You've had all these different roles. What are things that you think are important for people that are starting in their careers young right now?
That's a great question, and I answered that for John Boriak. He was our president of HAA, and he owns Veritas. And they interviewed several presidents for the Abode magazine. It might have been, I think it was John, not Christy Rodriguez. And that question came up, and I said, what I would stress to people is, don't limit yourself. Don't think I'm going to start as a leasing agent and go to an assistant manager, supervisor, VP. You might be interested in marketing.
Yeah.
You might be interested in training. And if you have an affinity for a certain area, accounting, construction. I mean, there are so many different areas in our business, as you know, that I try to tell people, just keep your mind open, because there might be an area that is not really the path through management that you want to take. But, who knows? Who knows? There are a lot of different possibilities out there.
All right, we got lots of comments coming in here.
Oh my gosh!
Make sure I address some of these about. We got some. I've got a lot of family in Ohio on my dad's side, so we got some comments about Baker planting the flag in Ohio.
Oh! Ouch! Not good, Baker.
Some asses.
I
enjoyed it.
I know it.
Because we can all say, and I'll say this because I have family from Ohio State. Ohio State fans are some of the most obnoxious fans. They really are obnoxious. Like,
here we go.
Oh, Lord.
I'm just going to say that. So,
well, while I'm saying, and Jenny, I don't know if you're listening, my friend Jenny Johnson, she is a Buckeye. And so anyway, Jenny, if you're listening, I was not happy with Baker over that.
I thought it was great,
Well, I really did too. Turn the camera off, Busy. I thought it was.
All right. That was... He said that was Sandra's property that we painted the shack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Not a good day. It was a very good day, Brian.
My,
It was really funny.
I keep bragging on my niece. My little sister works for us.
Yeah.
And, you know, my precious niece Haley, she lives here in Dallas, but Brooke just working for us. I have a lot of stories. She took over the supervision of those two properties. Remember, we had Solano 1 and 2.
Yep.
And just turned those around. We had a very successful sale on those after just a couple of years. So she did a great job. Not long. I think a couple of years.
Yeah, because I remember going out and walking those when y'all were looking at them. And then we did the rehab, and I don't think you had them for, maybe 8 months after we got everything done.
About 2 years.
Was it really that long?
I think it was, but I've slept since then.
It was really fast.
Yeah, I've slept since then.
Usually, because those two stuck out to me just because we spent a lot of time on those properties. Those two stuck out.
I know. Our
It seems like some of the other portfolio was around a little bit longer.
Right. Well, when Andy underwrites our deals, they have a five-year hold.
Right.
And so that's the model that we've worked with. So it is a little different when, you do go in and sell something before you've completed the path that we think we have set out.
I've always had to have a little list because it was just hard to keep track of everything. Like, these are the German properties.
I know it. I know it. All of our different investors. They're cool. Man. Yeah. Love all of them.
Great times, though. And I'm really sad because when I talked to you about doing this, had you even decided you were retiring then when we first
No, it happened real quickly.
I say, because I don't feel like you even thought you were retiring then. Like, I think this happened a little bit after that. Like, you
just
made
a
this
little
decision
after.
because I was like, man, she agreed to do this, and then it was like we finally confirmed and followed back up because you had something going on, and you're like, hey, I'm traveling. Follow back up with me on this date, and I was like, cool. And you were in Europe or something, and I'm watching you on there on Facebook, and then you came back, and I was like, wow, did she have any ideas she was going to do this? I was like, that's amazing. Like, I get to tell the retirement story. She agreed, and I get to tell this. This is awesome.
Well, Andy and Ed and Andy's son Benjamin, we sat down, and I had thought about it for a while.
Yeah.
And really had my sights set, Reed and I did, on trying to find a place that we could work remotely from. And you feel like you really shouldn't do that. I don't feel like I should live in Kingsland, Texas and work full time. No. And so anyway, we were a little intrigued with that.
Yeah.
And, we had great leadership at the company. We've got Gary Fowler as the president. Jennifer Panarel runs the operation. So I just felt like, it's probably a good time to just slip out and go on about it and be able to spend more time at the lake and chill out.
I'm highly jealous.
I've been in the fast lane for a long time, Garrett. So I'm looking forward to slowing down a little bit.
Yeah, get back at that Pawnee speed.
Yes, Pawnee speed. Takes you 2 minutes to get where you're going.
I have to say that because I know my mom's watching. My mom's from Enid, so
hi, Mom.
Yeah. So you've also. Let's step back and talk about the associations and stuff. Because we talked about what you think would help people and that they should leave things open. I think it's really important, and I'll be the first to admit, I have done a piss poor job of this in the last couple of years because I've gotten so busy trying to maintain a certain standard of what my clients expect from me.
Right.
I haven't made as much time for the association stuff, and I feel it, and I think that's especially for somebody just getting in, because these people become your friends and very fast, and
very close
friends turn into clients faster than clients turn into friends.
Right.
But it happens very fast, and a lot of that's association. And you've been the president, you've been on the board, nationally and for the state, I believe.
Not nationally,
but you did the board for them, right?
I wasn't on the board, but I would go up there to the meetings, and certainly our TAA and HAA executive staffs encouraged participation.
I was saying national. I meant like state level. I know you did Houston, but you
also
did.
And I was a VP at large for TAA for a couple of years, and so I enjoyed that. But I was on the board with TAA for a long time. I used to chair the membership, and we started the statewide membership campaign, and that was was kind of my baby because I knew how important membership was.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that I got a call from Paul Heiberger. He was the executive director of the Houston Apartment Association, and he asked if I would like to join the board. And I told him, I said, well, let me ask Ronnie and Marvy Finger. And he said, no, I called them first. So what I realized very quickly is you can't work a 40-hour-a-week job and volunteer.
Yeah.
So I would put in extra hours because I want to just tell everyone, you need to remember who signed your paycheck. And I think our associations are cognizant of that. They understand. They are the first ones if you have to cancel something or be late or rearrange the schedule. But you need to be aware of that. But giving back is just a part of something I've always wanted to do. I have so many people. I think of Jackie Roan. I mean, Stacy Hunt. I mean, you look at so many of these leaders that have gone all the way up to the NAA, level, and look at Jeff Lowry and Brad Williams. But my point is just to hold down the jobs that they all have or had, and to do the amount of volunteer work. I am just in awe of them because I know that
it's a crazy amount of time.
It took a lot of time, and it's just something that I finally had to just kind of cut back on a little bit.
Yeah.
And really, I did that when we started Dayrise. Actually, we started as Vesta.
Yeah.
And another group, Vesta, came in from Connecticut and had the name trademarked, so that's why we changed it to Dayrise. But I was so busy just helping to grow the company that we founded and doing a lot of traveling, as you said. So, I just naturally had to scale back.
Yeah.
And but I loved my time, the friends that I've met around the state. I have certainly friends on the national level, but the state of Texas love it.
Yeah.
Love all of my colleagues here.
What are some of your favorite memories from like big TAA things or being a part of the associations?
Well, Cheryl Pucci, do you know Cheryl?
I do not.
Cheryl she worked for United Dominion.
Okay.
And she was the president in, what year did I win the award? Embarrassed to say, I don't remember. But I won the President's Award. And the Frank P. Finch, and for TAA, she was our president. She's here in Dallas. And it was funny because she said, and she helped me sing that song at one of the board meetings. And of course, it was Boomer Sooner. But I was the first PAC. They started a new PAC group. And I was the first one to step up. And so I know that meant a lot to her. And so that's been a high point. And when I was inducted into the Hall of Fame in Houston, that was the pinnacle. It just, it doesn't get any better than that when you're thought that highly of by your peers. And in Houston, when I look at all of my mentors and all of the people inducted prior to me that made that decision, really warms your heart, makes you feel good.
I mean, that's super impressive. I mean, as big as like a lot of people, like there's always this battle between Dallas and Houston too.
There is.
And
we're bigger, by the way. Sorry, Dallas.
Definitely. And it's like, Houston's always been like such a hard place to work. I mean, we had an office when I first started with Element that was down there for a while, but then when we lost the guy that was running that, we never replaced that. We kind of went back to just, we would take on the big projects and come down and help certain clients when they wanted it. But we couldn't handle the day-to-day of Dallas and DFW when we were starting out in Houston. I mean, so that was, tremendous. So like the magnitude of like how much stuff goes on in Houston and just getting around Houston. And then you realize how much bigger Houston is and all the, like suburbs and everything else. It's just like, to me, that's kind of like, it's like that's almost like its own little state within Texas, like to deal with Houston. Interesting.
I never thought of it like that. I think that it's probably like Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, any of them. When you've got your management companies and your executives and your senior teams, they do like local people.
Oh yeah.
Because they feel probably like they can call them a lot quicker.
Well, you can take care of their day-to-day stuff
Right.
too. You know, you
Right.
can't call me and say, I've got a patio that's falling over and I
Right.
need you out here right
Right.
now.
Right.
And I'm like, well, it'll be 5 hours before I have a crew there.
Right.
That doesn't work out well.
Doesn't work.
You know, like,
Doesn't
yeah,
work.
we can do that. So, yeah, we haven't done as much stuff down there anymore, but I
Yeah.
always did enjoy going down there and doing
Oh,
doing
Houston's
stuff.
great. I've lived there now for 38 years and just love it. I don't love it at this time of the year, but you know,
It's not much better up
when
here.
when we have our winter and our average temperature is 65,
Yeah,
it makes it all worthwhile.
that's a little bit better.
Yep.
Well, what are some other big moments that like really stand out to you that you feel others could gain good knowledge from?
Gosh,
Because we try to do that on here. Because it's called common sense. So not to me, common sense is kind of the journey you go on, is where you gain the knowledge from doing your journey or going through your journey. So
one of the things that I've always treasured has been the fact that I started on site.
yeah,
And at Bob Mooring, at that company, we only had a one-person office and a one-person maintenance staff. And so I would have to go clean apartments if they weren't ready.
yeah,
But to go through and be in the shoes of everyone now that you deal with, I think it's great because you can relate to all of those team members. And I even had someone the other day that he's a security officer at our building, and I took him a little card and a gift card by just to tell him goodbye. And he sent me the sweetest text and said, "You think of the little people." I was like, I hate when people say that.
yeah,
Because one of my sayings is, we're all the spoke on a wheel. And it takes all of the spokes to make the wheel turn. And the day that an executive thinks that they're better than the groundskeeper, I mean, I tell our site staffs, you are the reason that we have jobs. You are the reason that we get a paycheck every 2 weeks. And I hope I'm a humble person, because that's what I've always, felt very strongly about. I think it's so important to make everyone in your company feel special. I'm astounded when people don't do that, because that is just the most essential thing that you could do, is just realizing how important every single person is. I mean, our receptionist, Dory, she just takes care of all of us. And, whether you're the CFO or, a regional vice president, or you're the maintenance supervisor or the make ready, it just takes us all. I mean, we're all a spoke on a wheel. And I think that that's been grounded in me. And I know that the Fingers were like that. We had no titles on business cards. You didn't refer to anyone by their title. And I don't like the word boss.
I hate that
Makes me sick.
much.
Makes me sick.
Yeah. I
And
feel like that should be implied though. Like you don't have to you shouldn't ever have to say that. Like you're
Right.
dealing with adults.
I sent out an email while we were on vacation a couple of months ago and said, look, to our managers, we have no bosses. We're all in this together. We're all a spoke on a wheel. And I know that you have to have your layers of supervision, but I don't know. I think that it's very critical to realize that every single person, I think we have 500 employees, 550, and takes us all.
Yeah.
Takes us all.
Absolutely. It's going to be so weird. You guys are finally doing the Dayrise awards and everything again.
I know it.
this
I
year.
can't believe I'm
You
going to
couldn't
miss
have
it.
waited 2 more months.
I
me.
keep hoping they're going to invite me back to be a guest
think they
speaker,
should.
but I don't know.
Yeah, maybe get you. as a
Hey, did
speaker.
y'all hear that? Anyone from Dayrise?
Yeah, well, we'll put in the good word.
I know it, and I won't even charge a fee. I mean, I'll just go down to Galveston and have a good time.
Yeah, just put you up in a room. Be all right.
That's all they got to do.
Yeah,
Are y'all going to be there?
we're gonna go down. Yeah,
Good.
for sure.
Element has
Can't wait.
always been so wonderful to be one of our platinum sponsors.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
oh, you're welcome. You guys are fantastic.
You guys have always been so great to work with. I mean,
well, I tell you what,
it's always been a give and take relationship. You know,
right.
It's like we've always worked together to get things done as a team. So.
I know, and no, we love working with you guys. Yeah. And I know that I met John's wife in Galveston a couple of years ago, but it is nice now post-COVID to get everyone back together.
Yeah.
We've had to have these virtual conferences, and what I do like about when we've had those virtually is everyone on every team is in attendance. It's virtual, but because when we have the conferences, as you know, we have our maintenance supervisors and our managers, but I just want for everyone on that team at every property to experience the excitement.
Yeah. That's awesome. I want to read this because this is from a good friend of mine, and apparently you know her too. Donna Parker is a good friend of mine, and you know Paige passed several years ago. And Donna just said, Paige Parker always said that about you. She was in Dallas, but I went with her once to Houston and met you in the Houston office, and I saw that about you. You definitely inspired a team.
Oh, that's sweet. I tell you what, Paige, she was just one of the best people I've ever known.
Yeah, Paige was
and
awesome.
She was taken too early, but
absolutely,
she was just. You know, when I got promoted at Alliance and all of a sudden Dallas was in my region, you know, I did obviously meet all of the team up here, and she was one of the first people that I met, and just I knew immediately that my experience in Dallas was going to be great with all of our teams.
And see, that goes back to, so this is my 15th year with Element.
Wow. I had no idea it had been that long.
Yeah, so, and I started out the first 3 years, I was just John's estimator. You know, I was estimating for John, and that's when I first started. I first met Mark Copeland and Brian Freese, and I didn't know at the time. You know, it's funny now looking back and thinking about this thing, and like how some of you guys know each other, and like I didn't know about Alliance to Westcourt to, you know, all those little things that spun off there in that time period. I was too new to realize how much things were changing. And who was, you know, tied into who. You know, it's like Paul Beckingham's on here, you know, talking. Like Paul Beckingham wrote the intro song that plays before my podcast goes on.
Hi, Paul. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, Donna and Paige and Nicole Starkey and you know, all these people. It's just like, it's so crazy, but then it's like when you find out like there was other ties too, it's just, it's just such a small
And I had left just before the Westcourt change. I had gone back to the finger companies.
Yeah.
So I was at Alliance for 9 years and went back to the finger companies, and so I missed that part. But oh my gosh, what a wonderful family we had. Have you ever met Yvette Davis?
I know that name. I'm sure I maybe
She was our president, and I mean, talk about a ball of fire. I think Yvette's 5'2", whatever, little tiny thing, but she is larger than life. And we had Mark, of course, running our construction, and it was just such a family-oriented company, and that's what I wanted to repeat at Dayrise.
Yeah.
It was very important for me when we founded the company to create that culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you definitely did that.
Well,
you definitely
thanks.
did that.
It took all of us to do it, but that was my goal.
So what are the big plans now for Suan trying to do retirement?
Well, it was interesting. When I was at Mass a week ago, they talked about, they had a film on a preschool that we have at our parish in Houston. And I thought, well, my degree's in, you know, education, early elementary, and maybe I could volunteer. However, I don't want any schedule to tie me down.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go talk to them at Prince of Peace and see, you know, if I could do 4 days a week, 5 days, a month. And we've got a lake house that we just bought. So we're going to spend some time.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We're going to spend some more time up in Kingsland by Marble Falls and just have fun with the family. We're all going to La Jolla this coming Friday for a family vacation for 8 days. And I'm just going to enjoy that. I'm going to go to some football games. I have season tickets that I've given away more tickets than I've ever
I
gone
haven't gone
to.
in a while.
Tell me any game you want to go to.
We'll have to go. We'll have to
And
do that.
if you want to go to the Cotton Bowl, you've got my two. After last year, a little nervous about going to the Cotton Bowl this year.
I don't.
Even though I love Brent Venables.
I don't
cool
coach. I don't do the Cotton Bowl. That's one of those.
Draw the line.
I can't do that kind of level of crazy anymore. I would just rather sit in my media room.
Well, aren't we that way with all the games?
And just enjoy it. No,
I mean, first of all, your home is fabulous. You've got this wonderful bar.
Thank you.
Your big screen and your fountain outside, and
it makes it hard to leave, you know.
Absolutely, we're like that in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have great outdoor kitchens and TVs and bars, and I mean,
now
it's
I got
like
a pellet smoker, so like I'm like absolutely obsessed with like making stuff on it now.
The experience at home is great. I have to tell you.
Yeah, it's. I think my wife. That's one area where she's like, yeah, sure. If it's going to keep you around here more, and like, you're not hanging out in the cigar lounge, then you know.
Absolutely. Where is she, by the way? Hi, Sarah. She's so cute. Hi, Lacey.
Well,
I'm going to do that in my retirement, going back to your question.
Yeah.
We have another grandnephew on the way. And so I'm going to have those four. What I really wanted to do, too, is my grandson, Christopher.
Yeah.
Is just go to San Marcos and spend a night or two. And just take him and his buddies and roommates out to dinner and hang out with him. I used to love to go to OU. I would go for games, of course. I was telling Sarah that. But Barry and Brooke were in their sorority and fraternity and go hang out with the kids. And I really want to do that with Christopher, too. Just be more a part of his college life.
That's cool.
But just that, and I'm really interested in this preschool program that they have at our parish. I think that would be nice. It would help me use my degree. And hopefully I can volunteer there. I want to look into different places, but I'm just going to have to take it one day at a time. I mean, this is still fresh.
It's got to be
Garrett, I'm worried. I might be calling you and John and saying, hey, no, I guess not. I don't think I could do construction with all of you guys. You're too talented.
I mean, are you starting up some other little deal? I mean.
Well, I don't know. I think at this point, just fading into the sunset for a few years and watching everyone just blossom. And
it sounds good right now. I want to see
I'll tell
how
you
far
next
back,
week how it's going.
Yeah, how far back you can turn down the
I'll
dial.
tell you next week.
Yeah. We'll be having a little phone call. She'll be like, I'm having a glass of wine right now. I'm not sure I still want to be retired.
Well, I remember.
Can't talk Reed into retiring.
Well, he says he's not going to. And but my mother-in-law was so cute. They retired. They lived in Austin, and they moved to Mason when they retired.
Yeah.
And she would have her ladies, all of her friends, come over at 5, and they would have cocktail hour.
Yeah.
And she was so cute. She would say her patio dress. And but I don't know. I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of people up at the lake. We've got a group of friends. Reed's two best friends are retired up there. And so we've got, just a circle of friends, and that's going to be fun. They're retired. Yeah. So, just really spending time with them and just, I don't know, hanging out. I'm going to read more.
There you go.
I quit reading a long time ago, and I want to try to do that. Okay, here is something for everyone out there, and I'm just going to put it out there.
All right.
If I had a penny for every time I've heard someone say that someone should write a book about our industry, and I want to let everyone know that I have decided in the last 2 weeks that I think I'm going to give that a try. And what I'm going to do is just reach out on Facebook to all of the wonderful people I've worked with, my friends that I haven't worked with, and just tell them to submit stories to me. Reed's written 8 books. So I'm going to have a little bit of help there.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be anything in depth, but just sharing all of the funny stories, collecting all of those, and try to put something together.
That'll be awesome.
Oh, I think it'll be too cool.
That'll be awesome.
I mean,
I mean, even
everyone
if
has
you
always
just-
said that.
I mean, you could stay in so many lanes and write entire books. Like you could
I
talk
know.
about experiences just from, this level or on site or,
Right.
like there's so many different levels. I mean, it's like almost like you could have like, there's almost be like Cops or something like that. But like,
Right.
you could almost have that scene of like, if you legally could show all the drama that
I
goes
know.
on an apartment complex.
I know. It's crazy. But
mean-
no, I'm excited about that.
That's awesome. That's
I just put myself under a lot of pressure to do it, and but I think that's going to be fun. That someone is finally going to sit down and try to tackle this that we've all talked about.
Yeah, no, that literally everybody makes that comment at some point, especially after something crazy
All the
happens.
time.
Or it's the latest craziest thing that happened this week.
Right. I know it. I think that'll be fun.
That's bold. Well, kudos
I
to
don't
you.
know if
Like,
you'll see me in Barnes and Noble anytime soon.
Hey, I'll
but
be rooting for you. I'll buy it.
Amazon, whatever. Hey, I'm going to be reaching out to you and John for funny stories.
Yeah, I'll
Everyone needs to contribute.
I'll see what I can come up with.
Good.
Maybe I can come up with a funny story about John. Maybe that'd be a way to go.
Hey, I'd love that. Or you could talk about John going to Pawnee, Oklahoma
Or Darius.
to Darius. But, look what you guys did at my mom's church.
Hey, that was an honor to go take care of that for you guys.
Right.
And, that's kind of that's in my home state. So.
I know it. Just to let everyone know, my mom's church, the church that I was raised in and baptized in and married in, they had a leak in the basement. And I had told Andy Shore, my partner, and Ed Biskind, I said, I really would like to get one of our contractors to go to Pawnee and see if they'll make these repairs. And so anyway, the basement had flooded. So, as you know, they put in the sump pump and the new flooring. But my gosh, to get you guys to travel all the way there, it's not as though you can fly in. If you fly into Oklahoma City, you got to drive.
in.
I know it. So anyway, the church was so happy. And John, shout out to you if you're watching. You guys are great.
He better be watching. He always tells me he's going to watch.
Well, and then Morgan Collier was there with the floor. So shout out to Dixie Carpet on that.
Yeah.
So Element and Dixie made it happen.
Yeah, we were happy to help with that. That was
Thank you all again.
good thing to do.
Yep.
You're getting lots of write the book.
Oh my gosh, I will.
I mean, Nicole Starkey just said, write the book.
Nicole, I'll be calling you for stories too.
Nicole has great stories, especially when
she
Jet
does.
was a little kid.
Nicole has good stories.
When I just had a goatee, when Jet was like 3 or 4, he used to think I was Iron Man.
Oh my
He
gosh.
called me Iron Man. And it was so funny because I'll never forget this. We were at the AATC bowling alley, and he comes running up to me, and he's like 4 or 5 years old. He's like, hey, Iron Man. He's like, you're not mad at me, are you? I was like, why would I be mad at you, Jet? And he's like, I'm wearing my Wolverine undies because my Iron Mans were dirty.
Oh,
I said,
how cute.
hey, man, don't worry. Me and Wolverine are cool.
That is
And I
so
was
cool.
like, oh, man, it's so funny. It's like, now I see pictures of him, and he's like
Grown up.
6'5",
Grown up.
massive football player.
I love when I see the children now.
Yeah.
I mean, we had at Creekside at North Lake, up here in North Lake, obviously, but we had an assistant manager, Linda, just a doll. Well, I worked with her mother, Kathy Castillo, at Alliance.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, here her daughter is, and Sherilyn Jackson, she's one of our assistant controllers. Her daughter works with us now.
Yeah.
And I mean, just all of these people that they're bringing their families into the business. They, TAA has been running articles. I don't know if they're still doing it about families in the industry.
Yeah.
And they had, an article, and they highlighted me and Brooke. And then my friend Susan Hinckley, they had her with her niece Shelby, who works for Valet Living. And oh my goodness, all of my friends that were featured in there. It's really neat, and a lot of Dallas friends all around the state. But it's cool when people want to follow in your footsteps.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel good. Brooke always said she wanted to do that. And I just look at her today and I could not be more proud. And my little sister Lori, she is at Woodbridge Villas and she is amazing. She's been an assistant manager with us for a long time. She says she doesn't want to manage, but I always tell her she needs to.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, and then I have another niece, Pam Maltzberger. She was working for us and just left to go into a marketing position. But it's fun when people really want to do that.
And it's fun to watch people
Yeah,
grow, too.
it's fun. It's fun. Who's out there, Garrett?
Man, you got Donna Parker on here. You got Diana Corkle.
Diana, hi, darling.
You got Nikki Starkey on here. You got Paul Beckingham on here.
I know,
Brian
Paul's such a
Priest
sweetheart.
on here.
Hi, Brian. What's Dana making for dinner?
It's probably what Brian's making for dinner.
Yeah, that's true. Grill master, grill king, not master.
Yeah, I mean, Brian throws down. I mean,
He does. I stayed with Brian and Dana during COVID, and it was better than any 5-star hotel.
well, I keep teasing him because, like, they just opened a Portillo's, like, a block
Oh
from
my!
me.
Well,
I was
I'm
like, when are you
surprised he's
moving
not
in the
there.
neighborhood?
Absolutely, he'll move whenever Brian was in Chicago. We all know that. I think I had for his birthday. I'm not sure, Brian. You'll have to tell me if I'm wrong, but had what is it? Goldbelly. They sent Portillo's to them to their
Okay.
house.
He always has that stuff shipped in. I mean, it was like.
Are you
until they
familiar
got
with
here.
Goldbelly?
Uh-uh.
Oh my God, I can't believe you're not. Cool place that Reed found. And they will literally ship food from so many different famous restaurants.
Okay.
And Reed will order, you know, the turtle soup from Commander's Palace in New Orleans and cakes. But you'll find so many of your favorite restaurants that are on Goldbelly. And
I'll
you
have
can,
to
I mean,
check
have
this
this
out.
food delivered, desserts, you name it, it's great.
All right. You got, oh man, you got ever since you started knowledge of people on here. We got all kinds of people on here. We got Blake Canada on here.
Blake, hi, darling.
Mary Ortiz Cisneros.
Hi, Mary just came back. She had a little baby girl. I told her, I said, great job. You come back and I retire the next day.
Well, yeah, you got all kinds of people popping on here to see you. Come here, you all worried. Noah's gonna be on here, and it'll go too long.
No. I, just to let everyone know, I've got Lacey Daniels here. She was our vice president of training.
Yeah.
And we were going to have dinner together tonight. And when you and I decided that this evening is when we would do this podcast, I said, hey, come on out. You can have dinner. I'll make sure it's okay with Garrett and his wife.
Absolutely.
So anyway, she was just fantastic. She's gone out on her own now.
Yeah.
So excited for her. So she's doing a lot of talent development and training and
Yeah, well, there might be a future episode coming. We'll get her on here.
well, she's
have her-
great. She's great. I think she spoke she spoke for NAA at their conference this year in Atlanta.
Yeah, TA and NA. That's
Yeah.
what she was telling me. That's awesome.
Oh, I know it. It's great. They've got a wonderful training group now too, and marketing team. You know, Dayrise has just really, really expanded all of the business support departments, and I'm really proud to say that when a lot of companies were laying people off during COVID,
Right.
or over the last year and a half, haven't laid off anyone.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing to say because we sold a lot of properties, but we
Yeah.
still kept all of the, you know, all the corporate team. So, you know, we've still got the same number of training and marketing people and business services and we're adding to that. And I think that speaks volumes as to the dedication
Absolutely.
that we have for our investors and partners and clients.
Yeah, absolutely. You got Abby coming on here now.
Is that Abby Coas?
Yeah.
Hi, Abby. We just had a party for Abby at my house on Sunday.
Adriana.
Oh, Adriana was there.
Yeah. You got
Oh
all
my
kinds of
gosh.
people.
Love all of my Dayrise family. Everyone asks how I'm doing when they reach out. And I said, I am so lonely for my Dayrise family. I can't stand that part, but I know
I'll
that
bet
I can
you're
always go
driving
see
Reed
them.
nuts.
Well, what's interesting is we've just had so much going on.
You've had a lot going on, so it's
you
kept
know,
you busy.
and so it hasn't really settled in, but I will drive him crazy. I drove him crazy during COVID when I was at home.
Oh, I drove my wife absolutely nuts. Like, I don't do well with sitting still and being bored.
Right. Well, Reed did not like being my administrative assistant, as he called himself. It's like, hey, can you scan this? Can you do this? Can you do? Yeah. So anyway, no, he did not like that.
My aunt right now, she just had to have a pacemaker put in today. But today was an interesting day. My mother-in-law had to have a surgery. She had a knee replacement. And then my aunt had to have a pacemaker put in today.
Wow.
And with my Aunt Pam, we were all joking. It was like, she's just going to have to tell people because she's got to lay really low key for 6 weeks. And her just sitting still.
I know. It's like me being retired.
Yeah, pretty much. And she's like, I'm just going to have to tell people I can't be Pam today. And I'm like, well, that's probably a good move. Like, I don't know that you can do that. Like, I can't even imagine.
Tell Aunt Pam I might have to say that. I can't be Sue Ann today.
Yeah, I just can't be Sue Ann today.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it might work. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that she's going to do it. She cuts hair. She just got to go back like a week ago. And then they told her, like, well, no, you're off again. You got to have a pacemaker. So, I don't know. She's going to have a real hard time having to just take it easy for 6 weeks.
Well, I hope everything goes well with them.
Everything's going good.
Good.
Thank you, though.
Good.
All right, well, we're going to ask you some of the tough questions now.
All right.
I know you were upset because I didn't, send you any questions.
I know.
But see, that's the best stuff part, though. See, now it hadn't felt like an interview, and we weren't just, you weren't trying to, worry about those things.
I know it.
So, if you had one piece of advice you could leave people, what would that piece of advice be?
Gosh. There's so many different things.
You can have one or two if you want.
Gosh, just based on my life's journey, what my advice would be, because I am so notorious for this, is just learn from the mistakes, but look forward. Don't look in that rearview mirror. And I know that's so basic.
Yeah.
But it's just, I spend too much time regretting or hashing out in my mind, should I have said that? Should I have done that? Should I? And you know what? What's done is done.
Yeah.
So keep moving forward. Learn from anything that you doubted. Not necessarily that you made a mistake, but keep moving forward. And another bit of advice, it was very liberating to me when I went to work for Alan Gross. He owned GFI, and he was based out of New York. When he interviewed me, I wasn't looking. And I was very intrigued with him because he asked me during this interview, he said, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Well, I think everyone knows that I'm not the analytical person. I'm not the technological person. I'm just a very back to basics person. And I told him, I said, this is what I like. It's the people, it's the going out in the field. It's really just focusing on the core business. And he said, I believe in putting people in their strength zone. And so all of a sudden, it was very liberating to me that what I had always done was felt bad about I say my weaknesses, but I just didn't like them. Yeah. It's not really that they were a weakness, but don't beat yourself up. I mean, we all have things that we're really good at, and we have things that maybe we're not so good at just because we don't like them. We don't enjoy them. So those couple of things.
All right. Now the big one.
Okay.
It's called common sense. You just get to give everybody your 2 cents. And it can be about anything. It could be about retirement, what you're looking forward to. It could be about something you're inspired from the show, our conversation. You just get to give everybody your 2 cents.
Gosh. Let's see. Be a kind person. Be a very kind person. Reach out, touch people, know about their lives, and just really, I don't even want to say remember where you came from, because I don't know where people come from.
Right.
I've never liked snobby people. I wasn't raised that way. Pawnee, Oklahoma, you're just, everyone, we all blend in, we all mesh. And so always just to be kind is very commonsensical to me because you get more flies with honey. What do we always hear?
Right.
And when you're kind, people gravitate towards you and they just want to do better for you. And we all want to do better for each other when we all feel important. Common sense that I see us really getting away from in our business is just stick to the basics. This business is really, we always say it's not rocket science, but it's really not.
Yeah.
And I think with all of the different products that are out there and the technology and the thises and the that's, that, you know, certainly a supervisor can study a lot of reports before they go out to their assets, but I can go out to an asset with all of that and spend a couple of hours with the team and walking the property and looking at their reports, and I can tell you what you need. I don't have to prepare and look at, you know, 5 different sources for information before I go out. It's about being in the field.
Yeah.
Show your appreciation to your team. Be there, be with them. Pet peeve of mine is don't take your computer just to say you're at a property and work. Be respectful of the team's time.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to be doing work, it's one thing if you have a conference call or something like that, but just, I want to be respectful of the sites, of the, especially the manager's time.
Yeah.
So those are just some very basic things, but things that are very important to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Well, thank you.
This is it?
That's it. Unless you got some more stuff you want to
Gosh,
throw
let's
out
sing
there.
Boomer Sooner or something.
I'm not singing Boomer Sooner. Nobody wants to hear me sing.
I know they don't want to hear me
That'd
sing
be
either.
like the
This
worst
is
thing.
really it?
Yeah, we can talk as long as you want to talk.
No, we don't have to.
We can talk as long as you want to talk.
I just thank you so much, Garrett.
Yeah.
This has been a lot of fun.
No, we've enjoyed having you on here. And
I'm just sorry we're not at your cigar lounge.
I know we could be enjoying a good cigar right now. I think that's it. I'm like fiending for a cigar right now.
I know it.
That's the
Our
longest I've
neighbors
ever
come
gone.
over to our house, and we all get together a lot in our neighborhood in in Tomball. And I've got 2 cigar ashtrays because I actually bought 12 cigars at Specs the other day. I like to keep them on hand, and so I like to try. I don't smoke a cigar, but I will certainly try.
All right. Well, we'll keep that in mind next time you're in town, and I'll have to go by the lounge and pick you up stuff so you're not buying cigars at Specs.
Okay, good.
I'm gonna have to make sure. Does Reed smoke?
No, hates tobacco.
Okay, hates tobacco, but you got
Despises
some
it.
other good friends that do. All right.
Oh yeah, Garrett.
I'll
Thanks so
I'll
much.
make you the hero of the next get together for any of them that like cigars.
Good.
That way you
deal.
can go down there and I can't believe he hates tobacco. That's terrible.
He hates it. I mean, drugs. Alcohol is the only thing. Reed loves a good Kettle One on the rocks, but
okay, vodka.
I mean, all of us can say that maybe we've tried pot or we've done stupid stuff when we were younger, but no, he's never. He just no alcohol. I mean, I keep saying alcohol. No tobacco.
All right. I wish I could say the same.
I do too.
Well, thank you so much for being on
Thanks,
this show.
Garrett.
Enjoy your retirement.
Thank you so
I know I'll
much.
be seeing you more soon.
All right. Cheers. Bye, everyone.
Cheers. Got it?